self-quarantine, possibly connected to the one man infected with the virus who is tonight in critical but stable condition. He took the train into the city to Grand Central. His wife, 2 children, and neighbor all testing positive. A public school district now closing. In Los Angeles tonight, a state of emergency. At least 6 cases, including a worker at LAX airport doing medical screenings. The death toll in the U.S. rising, and the first death in California. Dr. Jen Ashton answering your questions tonight. The other major story of the night, Joe Biden's comeback, expanding his wins just today, now winning 10 states from Super Tuesday. What he said today when asked, is this the establishment trying to stop Bernie Sanders? Biden forceful in his response, and tonight what Sanders is now saying. And former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg dropping out, endorsing Biden after spending $500 million on his campaign only to win American Samoa. And news tonight coming in on Elizabeth Warren. We are on the ground tonight, the search for the missing at this hour. At least 25 now dead in the Nashville area, and new storms tonight. Rob Marciano has the late track. Breaking news from the Supreme Court at this hour, the Chief Justice John Roberts with a rare rebuke of Senator Chuck Schumer after blistering comments about 2 justices on a key abortion case. The passenger flight diverted, an unruly passenger accused of trying to open the emergency exit mid-flight. The images tonight from inside the cabin. And the new message tonight from Alex Trebek.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Wednesday night. And we begin tonight with the race to contain the coronavirus coast to coast. In Los Angeles, a state of emergency. In New York City tonight, about 1,000 people are now under self-quarantine, all possibly coming in contact or linked to one man who is hospitalized in critical but stable condition tonight. His wife, 2 children, and a neighbor all testing positive. One of his children, a college student, class is canceled there. In Los Angeles, that state of emergency, 6 new cases there, including an airport worker doing medical screenings at LAX. The death toll in the U.S. rising to at least 11 tonight. The first death from California, a passenger on a cruise ship during a round-trip voyage from San Francisco. ABC's Whit Johnson leading us off with the efforts to contain the virus here in New York and across the country.
Tonight, a scramble to contain the spread of the coronavirus in New York. About 1,000 people ordered to self-quarantine, all possibly connected to one patient in this hospital.
That is another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. And again, all off this one attorney. They're going to be hundreds in Westchester.
That 50-year-old father now hospitalized in Manhattan in critical but stable condition. His wife, 2 kids, a neighbor who drove him to the hospital, and another family connected to his law firm testing positive too. The number of cases jumping to 11. A local public school district now closing to disinfect the buildings. In California tonight, health officials say this Grand Princess cruise ship is likely linked to the state's first death from the coronavirus and a second infection. An elderly patient possibly exposed while traveling from San Francisco to Mexico. The CDC now investigating a small cluster of cases of COVID-19 in Northern California traced back to that ship. Princess Cruises now urging any passengers who may have been exposed to stay in their rooms until you've been contacted and cleared by our medical staff. That ship now turning around, heading back to port in San Francisco tomorrow. The CDC working with Princess to determine the next steps. In Los Angeles County, a local emergency after 6 new cases there, including an airport medical worker at LAX who is screening for the virus. Across the country, the numbers climbing, at least 155 cases and 11 deaths. Outside of Seattle, new modular homes for a temporary quarantine village. And today, another victim from this Kirkland nursing home in Washington state. Families desperate for answers, worried about their elderly loved ones.
They're not answering the phones. The lines are busy. We've all been emailing. All the families are really worried, not knowing if our loved ones are even alive, if they have the virus.
Teddy Tyler's mother was rushed to the hospital from the facility last week.
I just keep telling her I love her and hope she can hear me.
In Washington today, the president meeting about the virus, talking about the changes in behavior for all of us in the wake of the outbreak.
I haven't touched my face in weeks. In weeks.
Mr. President,
I miss it.
And so let's get to Whit Johnson. He joined us now from outside the hospital where that New York patient has now been transferred to. And we know, Whit, from your reporting that that patient's in critical but stable condition tonight. And they're not only trying to investigate who may have come in contact with the patient, but also who might have treated him in these various steps along the way.
David, we know at least 8 employees from the first hospital where that patient was taken are now being tested for the coronavirus. And now officials here at New York Presbyterian are investigating as well to see if anybody else may have been exposed and needs to be tested. Governor Cuomo today warning that this is just the beginning and to expect dozens and dozens of more cases. David?
The governor reiterating what he's been saying for days now. Whit Johnson tonight. Whit, our thanks to you. And late today, the CDC now moving to rapidly expand the number of Americans who can get tested now for the coronavirus. But the question tonight, are there enough tests available? And late today, the White House now saying that those tests will be covered by your insurance. A lot to break down tonight. Our chief medical editor, Dr. Jen Ashton, was at the White House today, part of a group meeting with the vice president. So let's. We'll get back to Dr. Jen Ashton in a moment. The other major story tonight, Joe Biden's historic comeback, expanding his winning streak today, adding Maine winning 10 states in Super Tuesday voting, including Amy Klobuchar's home state of Minnesota and Elizabeth Warren's home state of Massachusetts. And in Texas, Bernie Sanders winning 3 states and still leading in California where votes are still being counted. What Joe Biden said today when asked, is this the establishment trying to stop Bernie Sanders? And tonight, what Sanders is now saying about the race ahead. Mike Bloomberg dropping out today, endorsing Joe Biden. And the phone call that Elizabeth Warren had with Bernie Sanders today. ABC's Mary Bruce tonight with the reshaped race for president.
Joe Biden today is relishing his stunning comeback.
Look, we're going to bring together all Americans. We did that. We showed that last night.
The former vice president swept 10 out of 15 Super Tuesday contests, including upsets in Minnesota and even Texas.
They don't call Super Tuesday for nothing.
He also won 2 states in Bernie Sanders' backyard, Massachusetts and Maine.
And we're told, well, when you got to Super Tuesday, it'd be over. Well, it may be over for the other guy.
An establishment of all those hard-working, middle-class people, those African Americans, those single women.
Today, the best week of Biden's campaign got even better.
And I'm glad to say I endorse Joe Biden, and I hope you will join me in working to make him the next president of the United States of America.
Michael Bloomberg poured more than $500 million into his campaign, only to win just one contest, American Samoa. Dropping out today, he pledged to keep his checkbook open to help defeat President Trump.
I will not be our party's nominee, but I will not walk away from the most important political fight of my life, and I hope you won't walk away either.
Bloomberg's exit came as news to Sanders.
Well, it's the first I heard about that. He certainly brought a lot of money into this race. I suspect we will see, a lot of money coming into Biden's campaign. Probably a lot of negative ads attacking me.
Sanders winning Utah, Colorado, and his home state of Vermont, and he's leading in California. But today, he was blunt.
Of course, I'm disappointed. I would like to win every state by a landslide. It's not going to happen. What we are trying to do is unprecedented. All right? We are talking about a political revolution.
Some Sanders supporters are turning up the heat on Elizabeth Warren to drop out and endorse her fellow progressive. But Warren's team says the Massachusetts senator is taking time to assess. She and Sanders spoke this morning.
It is important, I think, for all of us to respect the time and the space that she needs to make her decision.
Mary Bruce with us now. And Mary, we were on the air till 2 a.m. Hope you had a little bit of sleep. We know this is Joe Biden's 3rd run for president. His win in South Carolina was his first primary win ever. Then this streak, it kind of shows that the endorsement from Jim Clyburn, Amy Klobuchar, Pete Buttigieg, Beto O'Rourke in Texas the night before Texas voted, that momentum was worth a lot more than money in this race right now.
David, in some states, this was all about pure momentum. Joe Biden won in states that he had never visited, where he spent very little money. So the question now is, how does he build on this comeback? How does he seize this momentum going forward? That will be tested next Tuesday when several states will be critical in the general election will vote, including Michigan and Washington.
Mary Bruce with us tonight. Mary, great. to have you. We turn on to the other news tonight. And in Tennessee this evening, the horrific aftermath of deadly tornadoes that struck in the middle of the night and the search for the missing at this hour. At least 25 dead, 18 of them in Putnam County, east of Nashville, including 5 children, the youngest just 2. Tonight, the search for those still unaccounted for as families try to put their lives back together. ABC's Victor Oquendo on the scene in Tennessee tonight.
After tornadoes pummeled the Nashville area with winds reaching 165 miles per hour, tonight across Middle Tennessee, destruction is everywhere. Thousands still without power. Here in Putnam County, east of Nashville, the damage is everywhere. The storm took at least 18 lives in this county alone. The damage stretches for miles.
Worst natural disaster in modern day history in Putnam County.
Search and rescue operations underway for multiple people still missing.
This is the front porch, and beyond that porch was the home itself.
It's gone.
It's completely gone.
Lamar Redmond's sister and brother-in-law Kathy and Keith Selby both died in the storm. Their bodies recovered 50 yards from their home.
When you wake up the next morning and your family's gone, part of your family's gone, that's devastating. That's a big pill to swallow.
A couple houses over, Richard Farley Sr. also reeling. His son-in-law and grandson did not survive.
What can you tell me about them? They were fine people.
At least 25 are dead. The youngest victim, just 2 years old. Sawyer Kimberlin died along with his parents Josh and Aaron. But amid the tragedy, harrowing stories of survival. Jean Gregory's husband racing to protect her as the tornado closed in.
So he came in and he dragged me off the bed and threw me on the floor. Got on top of me and we rode it out in the bedroom.
The couple surviving without a scratch.
And Victor Oquendo with us live tonight. And Victor, we know first responders are still searching for victims. And what are you learning from authorities tonight?
David, teams are still out on the ground and in the air. Take a look. One local police department even using a drone that has a thermal lens on it that would help them spot someone still trapped in the rubble. Teams are still going door to door as well. The National Guard is here to help, but some areas might not be accessible for weeks. David?
We're thinking about all those families in Tennessee tonight. Victor, thank you. I want to get right to ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano. He's also in Nashville tonight because, Rob, we know the threat of more severe storms looms tonight.
It does, David. Thankfully, that threat is to the south of us here in downtown Nashville. You can see the extent of the damage to commercial and government buildings like this one built out of brick and steel girders, just crushing and flattening these buildings. And that severe weather could possibly do the same down along the Gulf Coast. Here it is on the radar along I-10. The low is near Houston. It will be propagating eastward. Damaging winds, tornadoes possible, and these grounds are saturated. So flood threat is for real. We're already seeing flash flooding tonight across parts of southern Georgia. You can see the heavy rain getting in there still tomorrow morning, pushing east across Tallahassee, Jacksonville, and eventually through Charleston. It will all clear on Friday for much quieter weather that can't come soon enough. David?
Rob Marciano also in Nashville tonight. Rob, thank you. We're going to turn now to the fireworks at the Supreme Court today. The justices today hearing a key case on abortion rights. It's a big test for President Trump's picks, Justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh. Outside the court, Senate Minority Leader, I should point out, Chuck Schumer, with a heated warning.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
So let's bring in our senior national correspondent, Terry Moran, tonight. And Terry, because the Chief Justice John Roberts delivering a rare rebuke late today to Senator Schumer.
That's right, David. A sharp and extraordinary rebuke to Senator Schumer. In this case, the justice saying just a little while ago, threatening statements of this sort from the highest levels of government are not only inappropriate, they are dangerous. All members of the court will continue to do their job without fear or favor from whatever quarter. Now, Senator Schumer's office fired back, claiming that the senator was talking about the political price that Senate Republicans would face. Whatever the case, Chief Justice Roberts has previously rebuked President Trump when he went after a federal judge of Mexican descent. Chief Justice trying to protect the court in these difficult times, and that is tough. David?
Terry Moran live at the White House tonight. Terry, thank you. There was another big swing in the financial markets after significant losses yesterday. The Dow soaring more than 1,100 points, up 4.5% today. Some analysts pointing to Biden's victories overnight. Big winners today, health insurance company stocks on the lower threat of a potential single-payer system. The Congress also pitched